there, Watcher of Realms. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there today. Today, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. I want to go through every epic in the game, and I want to tell you who I would max, no questions asked, right? Or maybe who I would invest in, because some of them you might not have to throw all your skill crystals into or take all the way to 60, but I'll point those out as I go. And I do want to be clear here, this is not by any stretch the definitive list in all of Watcher of Realms, because honestly, there's some epics I don't have, and there's some epics I have not used extensively. So if you either disagree with anybody that I call out, or if you have an epic that you love that I gloss right over, odds are I just haven't built them, and let me know about it in the comments, and then maybe I will, and then maybe I can do a follow-up video maybe in 6 months or something down the line and give you my revised list. So with that being said, I'm going to try to move through this pretty quickly because I do have a tendency to ramble quite a bit. Too many anecdotes. Let's start with the obvious one, Wrath. He's a Nightmare Lord. He's an epic lord. Everybody gets him. When you get him awakened, he can self-sustain. He stands toe-to-toe with a lot of legendary fighters in the game in terms of his DPS, and having that survivability and versatility makes him an absolute no-brainer. I hear good things about Gluttony, but I have no first-hand experience. Let's see. Dalian. Dalian's one of those examples. You don't have to take her all the way to 60, but you do have to skill her up, right? Because I waited so long to invest in a cost regen hero in the game, and man, once I did with Dalian, and I think she's the best in the game. I might be wrong. There might be like a newer hero that I missed that's even better, but she is amazing. Restoring 13 costs for all allies every 30 seconds, and again, you do want to skill that up. Man, I was like, as soon as I did it, I was like, why didn't I do this a lot sooner? I actually maxed her all the way out, and I just kind of used her as a meat shield in like Gear Raid 3 and areas like that, right? But very, very good. If you've ever been on the fence about a cost regen, I implore you to invest, and especially if you have Dalian. All right. I don't think Voros is a no-brainer, but man, if you're looking for a DPS from a fighter who attacks really fast, like Guild Boss 1, look no further. Deimos, kind of an arena god, right? And very good for Guild Boss as well. But again, kind of like Voroth, if you really need a fighter. They're very hard to get on Deimos, though. Let's see. Aatrox, I would absolutely say that everybody should invest in him. He's kind of like a mini Cerberus. But that's not to say he's like trash or anything like that, or like so worse compared to him. But having that very unique set with that AoE and the death damage and the really quick redeployment time as well, he's very good in several codexes and anywhere you're going to deal with a bunch of swarm troops all at once, right? So really love Aatrox. And you get like the arena, very good in the arena as well. All right, Vladov, very tough to get. It's kind of it for me in the similar vein as maybe a little bit better version of a Voroth. Vladov is also an epic lord, a chaotic lord, very hard to get your hands on. Also Nightmare. So fits in a lot of teams very well. Nice DPS, but maybe a little bit more niche. So that's kind of like if you need him on your account type thing, right? Rourke, I have no firsthand experience, but I hear he's pretty okay. Let's go on to the defenders. Baron. Absolutely. Baron, especially if you get him in the early game, he fits very well with a Wrath, right? Because they're both Nightmare, and I love Baron. I think that I'm probably higher on Baron than your average player. Maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe I just love the dude's flaming head. I don't know what it is. I mean, look at that dude. I love that he just has no head, just straight up flame. I really like that. I don't know. His face is on his stomach. I'm going to be real with you guys. I didn't even notice that until right now, that he had his face on his stomach. Well, there we go. Hey, he's got shield, big shield, and great survivability, and unkillable, right? So what more do you want out of a tank, right? Especially good in Gear Raid 2, but just a good tank, a good robust tank in a lot of different areas of the game as well. Livian is a very good defender. Olog is one of the best defenders, just an absolute broken passive to this day, one of the strongest defender passives in the game. Once you get that shield up, it's really not going anywhere, right? Just so freaking tanky with that passive, with that shield. Absolute no-brainer. So to be clear here, no-brainer on Baron, no-brainer on Olog. Vivian, I'm a little bit less high on, but people really like her. So, same thing with Mariel. I'm a little bit less high on Mariel in Livian compared to Olog and Baron, but they're all really, really solid. Okay, those would be my no-brainer epic defenders. Gonna move on to the marksman. Hey, man, I might take some flack for this, but Brienne's very underrated, right? A lot of people say that, she's just like, you can outgrow her really quickly and she's overrated. I'm actually in the opposite camp. Very good for anti-air, and she's super cheap, right? And just like every hero in this game, she actually does pretty well. She scales pretty well if you can put good gear on her or just kind of continue to improve her gear. Is she the best endgame marksman standing toe-to-toe with, a Hex and a Silas and whoever? No, certainly not. And I don't think she's as good as Idril, but she is very good. And I really like her split shot, right? It does a lot of damage. So I'm a big fan. And Maul, though, I'm a bigger fan. I love Maul. Insane range, insane AoE damage, but a lot of control, right? He's got slow and freeze. He gets a lot better with Awakening. And if you get him all the way A5, you can reduce that cost all the way down from 22 to 17, which is super valuable. I use Maul a lot still on my account. Idril is honorable mention to Theowen. If you're looking for some good control, Theowen's got you covered, right? Very good in faction trials. Outside of that, you'll get better as you go, but I'm a fan. Idril is one of the best, probably the best epic marksman. I put Maul kind of in the conversation, but they're so different, right? It's hard to compare them. But of course, Idril's claim to fame is with the limitless shots. She can hit anywhere on the entire map, making her so unique and so powerful. An absolute auto no-brainer max. Lunaria. You don't have to max Lunaria, although she's very capable, very good, just good damage. She has some rage restoration as well, but she's a Piercer Lord. If you don't have Aracha, look no further. She's very good because Piercers alongside of her will get that extended range, and that's super powerful. You don't even need to play her to get that advantage on your Piercers, and that can make a world of difference in areas like Gear Raid 3. Guild Raid 3, what? Gear Raid 3, very, very good. Okay, I think those are my no-brainers. Going on to mages. Well, Mari. Everybody gets Mari, and it's good because she's insanely good. One of the best control epics in the game, one of the best control heroes overall in the game. Has a beautiful Blizzard freeze. She's got slow, and she's got good debuffs on her basic. She's got a 10% magic and physical damage vulnerability on her Icicle passive that works with her basic. So you build her with enough attack speed, and she can be a very capable debuffer as well as a control champion. If you're looking for damage out of Mari, well, I think that's what a lot of new players do. They're like, she doesn't deal any damage for a mage. You're just barking up the wrong tree. She's a control champion, not a nuker. All right. Honorable to Navras. He's not a no-brainer, but it is Halloween or close to, and he's really fun, but not a no-brainer. Greed, though, you get Greed, what is it, 30-day login now? They added him to the login after I had already eclipsed that day of playtime. But this guy, he's expensive, 25, but I do think he's worth players investing in. He's got a nice damage, and he's actually got really good control, too, bringing that slow on the Purgatory ultimate. So I actually am a big fan of Greed, and I think everybody should invest in him as well. Iona. Don't they like sell you Iona early on for like $5.99 or something like that? Iona is, I think everybody should invest in her, right? Because even in faction trials, she can definitely help you out there as one of your main DPS. So you can get utility out of her, but I do think that her overall power creep or so, it does fade off as you get to start to get to like the late mid game into the end game of Watcher of Realms. But she can definitely be an MVP early game, early to mid game as well. Areas like Gear Raid 1. She's one of the best damage dealing mages for epics out there, right? So if you're looking for the damage that Mari didn't have, you can't go wrong with Iona. So I do think she's worth investing in. Okay, Laurel. I mean, Laurel's a great example of somebody that you absolutely want to use, you want to keep, and you're going to be using her all over the place. She's one of the most endgame epics in the game, but it's all because of the talent, right? You basically place her there, you get the rage regen when you remove her from the battlefield. So what she actually has on in terms of gear, as long as she's not dying when you don't want her to, it doesn't matter, right? So she's one of the best. Absolutely worth keeping, absolutely worth using, but you don't have to max her out. I love Azoth, but not an auto. Obviously, Pyros is the epic infernal lord. He's going to be a core part of your guild boss team, probably for a long, long time. I still use him. I have Twin Fiend and I have Soul Cadence, but I still use Pyros because I have Pyros at A5 and I don't have any awakening on the 2 legendary lords who are more difficult to get. So Pyros for me is an absolute no-brainer. Max him out. He is a little bit niche though, where the most of his value, the main value that he'll bring to your account is going to be in Guild Boss 1. AI. She's not a 100% must max, certainly not, but I really love her, man. I really love the Frost Bombs. It's basically a trap champion. She's placing these crystals that freeze your enemies. Very good in like Guild vs. Guild, but I can't say an auto. Abizu is actually, I don't have her, but I really want her. She's really good damage. Probably, I said that Iona is the best damage mage. Abizu might be better, like in terms of overall damage. There's a reason that I don't have her. She's hard to get, right? She's a lord as well, of a cultist lord. So it can provide lord utility. She restores rage when an enemy dies in range. She has a good spiritual siphon, a very good ultimate where she's dealing damage, and she has the Psyche Force. Man, I really want to get my hands on her, but alas, I don't. I do think she's an auto max and auto invest in. And then we're down to the healers, guys. Of course, Dolores is still considered to be probably the best epic. Heck, maybe the best hero in the game still to this day. She costs 5 and she brings that beautiful inspiration, the strongest inspiration and very affordable in the game. She's going to make all your damage dealers, well, do more damage. And when you have a champion like Dolores on your team, it gives you the benefit of like changing the way that you build your DPS around her on the platforms, meaning you can go from putting like 2 attack percentages on the right-hand side of your gear to a crit damage, attack percentage, because she brings so much attack to those DPS that are surrounding her. She's absolutely an engine that drives a lot of the best teams in the entire game. What else is there to say about her? She's amazing. Vortex, one of my favorite healers in the game. Heck, I mean, once you get your hands on Vortex, a must-max healer in Watcher of Realms, man, you've got a healer that's going to last you all the way to the end game, Massive, wide heal. He can really cover the territory of sometimes 2 other healers without that range, and just tremendous shields, right? So very, very nice to keep your team alive, and that's what you want out of a support healer, right? Obviously. All right. Maidon's a pretty good healer, but I don't think she's an auto max. To me, she's not on the same level as, well, a Vortex, for example, right? But Hollow, I think Hollow's a top 5 epic in the game. She's one of the best rage regen heroes in all of Watcher of Realms. You're definitely not going to regret investing heavily into Hollow. You can use her almost anywhere. Rage regen, getting to other ultimates faster on your other heroes is the bread and butter of Watcher of Realms, and she's absolutely got you covered. People say that she's a really crappy healer, but honestly, her heals aren't bad. She can't support like your main tank taking a ton of damage, but she can be a good supporting healer on, like your range units where she's usually going to be around. So overall, Hollow's just in a league of her own, like Hollow, Elowen when we're talking about rage regen out there. All right, anybody else? No, I wouldn't say so. I do think that Nasandi is a pretty dang good healer. But again, the big three here in the healers for me are Dolores, Vortex, and Hollow. So guys, let me have it. Who did I miss that you absolutely love? Let me know about them, him, her, it, whatever in the comments below. Much love. And as always, take care, guys.